Hi everybody, welcome back into the second episode of the Person Behind the Coach podcast. I'm Danny Gibson with OEFC West, and again we're very excited about this podcast series. We really feel it's going to give a unique insight into the people that are coaching you and your kids if you're a parent on the team, and we're excited to give that unique piece of insight, especially looking forward to next season. You guys can jump on, listen to the podcast, or watch it on the YouTube channel, and really discover a little bit about who will be coaching your kid, and spending that time as we really look to develop them on the soccer field and, of course, off it holistically as people that can really contribute to their communities. Before we jump into our second guest, our episode 2, we'll just again hit on some housekeeping points. We again really want to push that we are looking at tryouts for June 4th, 5th for tryout camp. The camp is free to attend. Make sure you're sharing it, you're spreading it amongst your friends and anybody that really wants to get involved with a soccer club that's growing and progressing and looking to really give back to communities and develop the right way. And then our tryout camp, or our tryouts and team placement is June 6th. So Saturday, June 6th will be our actual day of tryouts. So make sure, again, you register. westokcsoccer.com is our website. If you follow the link through to OEFC West, one of the first news stories on there, click on it and it'll take you through to tryouts and where to register. So as much as you can register, it's really going to help us in terms of organising, especially with the guidelines and stuff like that we're getting ready to roll out in terms of getting restarted in training and in games. In terms of restart, May 15th, again, it's kind of been confirmed by OSA. Internally, we are putting a lot of stuff together to make sure that we're doing it in the right manner, we're doing it safely, and that everybody feels comfortable coming back out. So we have a really thorough plan. We've collaborated with the staff and with the cities, Mustang and Yukon, primarily where we train and play, to make sure that we are following all the procedures to make sure everybody's safe and everybody feels comfortable. So be on the lookout for the rollout of our kind of guidelines as OEFC West. Make sure you check out the coaching slate. Obviously, we'll be talking to one of the coaches tonight, but make sure you check out the coaching slate. We've had a few changes, not based on changes on any teams, but more so we've added some more coaches because of the next thing we were due to talk about, the Newcastle club joining us, coming under OEFC West. It's something we're very excited about. We see a lot of things mirrored in the Mustang and the Yukon and the surrounding areas, and in the Newcastle area, it's a area of real potential and growth. So we're very excited to welcome them on board and welcome the coaches that they have, and hire one or two new coaches, new faces in there that we feel are really going to make an impact. So make sure you check out the coaching slate. It's kind of evolving at the moment, but we're really excited about the coaches that we're able to bring back and the coaches that we're bringing in as we look towards next season. All that being said, we want to get to the main part of the podcast. We want to tonight welcome in our guest that I have a great relationship with this next coach. He goes above and beyond in everything he does, and really excited to see his growth as he comes through the club and continues to develop. Originally from Moreno Valley in California, and he is our director of coaching as well as our coach for the 08 girls and the 08 girls green. Without further ado, I want to welcome in Antoine Williams. Antoine, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Danny. Thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to it. How are you?
Yeah, good. Ready to be back out there, and it's nice that we've got that date now that we can really start to focus on and look forward to.
No, definitely. I'm definitely looking forward to getting back on the field as well. I don't think I've been away from the fields this long since the summer of my senior season. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting back out there as well.
Awesome. Well, let's jump right into this. So obviously, originally from Moreno Valley in California. So tell us a little bit about life growing up there, and how did you start playing soccer? How did you get introduced to the game?
So definitely raised in Moreno Valley, California. So I'm actually originally born in Harbor City,
Okay.
California, which is right outside of the Los Angeles area. And then I moved to Moreno Valley when I was about 5 or 6, and was practically raised in Moreno Valley. And so Moreno Valley is about an hour east of LA, so not too far, but definitely still have those ties there. But just growing up, I actually, a lot of my friends didn't play soccer. I was actually introduced at recess. During school,
Wow.
I would always go out and play on the field. And while I was in school at this particular time, they would send flyers to the school for the different recreation leagues that we had, AYSO in particular. And so got a flyer one day, took it home to mom, and said I wanted to play. And mom signed me up, and that's how I got my start.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what Brandon said. Recess on the last one, and now recess as well. I think we got to start going to these recesses and make sure they're playing soccer in the local area. But no, that's awesome. Obviously, um, growing up there must have been basketball, football, baseball. Why did you more so steer towards soccer?
Like you said, those sports are huge. California in general is huge, and so for me, I stuck with soccer just because I found out I was actually really good at it. I played basketball, I played football, but a lot of that stuff was done with friends outside in the street. But as far as when it came to actual competitive sport, soccer was my thing. I played 1 year of AYSO, then I made the All Star team. That All Star team turned into a club competitive team, and once I got into that, it was just one of those things where if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it, you know, to the best of your abilities and 100%. And so I stuck with it, and that's pretty much why it was soccer for me. I mean, I was good at it, didn't see or didn't really have the time to really do anything else other competitive wise, and so I just stuck with it, and I'm here now.
Yeah. Uh, in terms of that, it's interesting. It's always a bit of a debate and discussion in the coaching community about multi-sport athletes. We've just seen Bayern Munich have said that they're going to push out the age of their academy. So when they start in kind of the professional academy setting, it's now a later date because they want to encourage kind of that multi-sport and the local ties. Was that the case for you? Did you kind of play several sports, or was it once you fell into soccer, it was kind of full steam ahead with that?
For me, it was full steam ahead with that, and that's kind of why I'm not a real big believer in a lot of people saying multi sports will help you. Yeah, I get it, but I was one of those who strictly stuck with one sport, and I turned out well. But I also just look at the time, day, and the age, and realistically, kids don't go outside anymore, and so they're not able to do anything else. And so it's okay, we're going to put you in these three sports so that you can do something else. But for me, yes, I played competitive soccer, but when I was with my friends or if I was at home, I was outside playing basketball, I was outside playing football, and so for me, that's where my other sports came in. But soccer was just for me. That was full steam ahead. That's all I stuck with. Only competitive sport I've ever played,
Right.
um, and I've been doing it since I was 8.
No, no, I think you're onto something there. It's just maybe a little bit of, and when we were young, we hated this expression, but it's a bit of a sign of the times, and we certainly didn't have to manufacture or pay to go do a certain thing. with maybe just playing tag in a neighbour's street or whatever, but you're still getting different things off of that. You're moving, you're having to anticipate, change speed, change that, just different things like that that I think, maybe sometimes we now have to set that up for the kids. So no, that's certainly interesting that soccer was just the one competitive sport that you went into. But, so in terms of maybe a certain moment or a time period within you beginning to play and continuing your development, was there any one moment you can kind of remember where you really kind of developed that love for the game?
Yeah, definitely. And for me, it was the year I made the All-Star team. After my first season of just playing recreation soccer, made the AYSO All-Star team for our region. And once I did that, I figured out, hey, this is for me. Had a couple coaches, that were pushing me and telling me, hey, you should do this, or you should go play competitive. And once I heard that, I was like, okay, well, maybe, this is for me and it's something that I can stick with and really do. And so for me, that's when I really fell in love with the game.
Awesome. And AYSO, for those that don't are not familiar with that's a large kind of network of recreational clubs. Is that right? And they have competitive side as well?
So AYSO is basically our recreation in California. Here in Oklahoma and other states, I believe a lot of the recreations are tied with competitive clubs.
Right.
Here in Oklahoma, you have ESC, who's tied with Central. Out west, we have Yukon and Mustang that are tied with West. But in Southern California, a lot of the clubs don't have recreation teams that are tied to them. And so if you're wanting to play recreation, you're typically playing AYSO. And then if you decide to go competitive, that's when you'll join one of the clubs that are in your area or whatnot. And so AYSO is huge in Southern California. I don't think it's very popular here in Oklahoma. But AYSO is basically our recreation league. If that's what you want to play, that's what you play. And they have, last I checked, it was up to at least U16, U17. And so
I believe they're nationwide as well.
Yes.
They're into a lot of different states. So
Yes.
yeah. And what was that like? You spoke that you had certain coaches saying, at this point, we can't really push you any further with the recreational club and where you're playing. And obviously sometimes we don't see that with certain coaches or teams, but really trying to do what's best for the individual and to push you into a competitive side. So, just speak a little bit to that, because, most likely looking back now, you probably think, I'm really thankful for that person that did that.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely thankful. I mean, a lot of people may or can say this, but I've had a lot of really good coaches. I haven't had many, but all the coaches that I've had have been really good and helpful. But for coaches at that age to say, hey, recreation isn't for you, you should go play club. It meant a lot. It also, boosted my confidence and it showed me that, hey, this coach actually cares about my development and cares what I do. And they're not worried about, holding me back just for their recreation team to win or to lose or whatsoever. They were really looking out for me as a player because they noticed, the talent early on. And so, that definitely means a lot when you have coaches that do that. It definitely goes a long way because I could have played another 2 or 3 years recreation, but if it wasn't for that coach, and not only did he tell me to go, he actually reached out to some of the competitive coaches for me, to see when they had tryouts and things like that. And so it was a huge help. I definitely enjoyed it. And, to this day, if I see that coach, I thank him. But it was definitely huge for me.
No, that's awesome. And I think even with as we grow and kind of develop as a club, again, it's something that we have to be doing as coaches of certain teams. You know that we've kind of instituted this rule of if you got a player on your 08 girls that's just killing it week in week out. Now, what's next for her? Do we keep her here so that Coach Antoine can win a game, or do we push her up to the next age group and the next level? So it's really something that we I think believe in, and you've obviously lived it. So I think it's always nice to have that personal experience. So now you can replicate it as you go into the coaching. In terms of growing up in California, was there any particular team that you supported on the professional side? You have anybody you support, you're a fan of?
For me, I'm a fan of the game. I do have multiple teams in different leagues. Being from Southern California and playing with a lot of the Hispanic kids that I played with, they watched the Mexican League, and so I was a huge America fan. And then also I'm a huge Los Angeles Galaxy fan.
Nice.
But my EPL team is obviously Manchester United.
All right.
I'm a huge United fan.
Nice. How did that come about? Like, obviously, you spoke, of course, California, LA Galaxy, the players you played with, Club America, but how did the Man United thing come about?
So the Man United thing came about when I was younger, and actually for a majority of my club playing career, I was a center back. And as I came up, Rio Ferdinand was a center back for Manchester United.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, I had the long hair, the braids, like Rio. I was athletic, strong, and strong in the air, like Rio. And so Rio was kind of who attracted me to Manchester United. I was like, hey, he's really good. That's who he plays for. So that's who I'm going to go for. And then as I got older and started transitioning into becoming a goalkeeper, I was a huge fan of Edwin van der Sar.
Great player.
Which at the time he played for United as well. And so those two players alone kind of just set the table for me being a huge fan of Manchester United, along with Wayne Rooney. But for the most part, it was really those two guys that were like, hey, this is why I like United.
Yeah. So you're about like, and you look like Rio Ferdinand when you played, and now you look like Wayne Rooney. No, that's awesome. I can at least appreciate the story that attracted you in the Man. We spoke about it on the last one with Brandon, that it seems to be the generic answer, but Rio Ferdinand obviously was almost a little bit ahead of his time in terms of how he played centre back. That he was a bit of a ball player and progressed the ball forward and good dribble and pass and great range. So no, I can certainly appreciate that. As you were growing up in California, any games that you were able to attend, anything stick out in terms of a great memory of a game that you went to?
Here's the funny thing about that. I live 5 minutes from formerly the Home Depot Center, StubHub Center, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Never been to a Galaxy game.
Wow.
The only professional game that I've gone to was actually a Sporting Kansas City game in Kansas City.
There you go. Well, I guess that's all right. You just killed my question off. But Sporting Kansas City, were you at college at the time?
I was in college at the time. I was going to Tabor College at the time.
A good game?
It was a good game. I'm not sure who they were playing. It was back in I want to say it was either 2012 or 2013. But I know I believe Jimmy Nilsson was still in goal for Sporting KC. So
Nice.
it was I think they ended up winning, but it was a good game, good atmosphere. Loved their park, loved their fans. So I had a blast.
Yeah. No, I'm surprised you never went to Club America. Came in a couple of years ago to play the Energy, and that's probably the best atmosphere I've seen in Oklahoma in terms of a soccer game with all the Hispanic fans coming in, traveling from Houston and everywhere to kind of see the heroes. It was crazy.
I was actually here in Oklahoma when they came up for that, I believe. I don't know why I didn't go to the game. I just didn't go at the time, but I do remember that game.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And so I guess just the last thing in terms of California, you probably described as a hotbed for soccer in the US, with all the different cultures and if we go through the club soccer landscape, they certainly have a lot of leaders and have developed a lot of players. Just speak a little bit about how maybe the culture and the environment kind of impacted soccer for you growing up there.
The culture, it was amazing, and for me, obviously I was younger when back when I was playing, but just the things that I remember playing and being here in Oklahoma is, like you said, for one, there were a lot of different clubs you could play for, a lot of good clubs you could play for, and the other thing is there was talent all over. I mean, I played for a smaller club, but my club would compete with some of the bigger clubs. We didn't have clubs that tried to go out and get all the best players,
right,
to make one really good team. And so for me, that culture was great because no matter what day, what time, where we played, it was always going to be a competitive game. And we knew that, going into that game, if we didn't play 100%, then we were most likely going to get beat.
Right.
But at the same time, when we did play some of these top clubs like your Pats or your Surfs, Nomads or even Celtics, it was a good chance that our team was going to get beat 4-5-0, but it taught us how to lose. It also taught us, hey, if you want to get better, you want to compete with these teams, you have to get better. And so I really enjoyed the culture. It was great. We were able to travel different places, and just play different teams. And so I had a really good time. I'm going to be biased and go out on a limb, but SoCal competitive scene is probably 1 or 2 in the nation, in my opinion.
Yeah, but you probably wouldn't have a lot that would go against you. It really seems, and from the coaches that I've spoke to from there and the experiences I've had, I think a lot of it's cultural. Just people playing all the time in between practices. It's not just about organized, constructed practice. It's what they're doing away from there that probably really makes a difference for a lot of those individuals and those teams. But no, what brought you to Oklahoma then? Did you go? I believe you moved from Moreno to Oklahoma before you went to college, or have I got that backwards?
No, so I actually went. So from Moreno Valley, I went to Kansas. I did 2 years at a junior college in Riverside, which is back home.
Gotcha.
After that, I transferred into Tabor College, which is in Kansas, and
Yep.
so I finished out my schooling there, got graduated, and then that summer I decided I wanted to go back and get my master's. What possessed me to do that, I don't know.
Pursuit of excellence.
So when I decided to get my master's, that's actually what brought me back to Oklahoma. I came to Oklahoma, went to Southern Nazarene University, got my master's from there. And so I finished and I'm still here. And so that's kind of what brought me to Oklahoma, was me getting my master's.
Wow. So a little bit about, I guess, your college career. Tell us a little bit just leading up to that, like what was the process for you of deciding to go to Riverside and then obviously Tabor. I guess just talk a little bit about the recruitment side and then, kind of your journey through college soccer.
So my journey, it's going to be pretty different from everyone else's because I think I kind of had a step or a foot in the door. Uh, Out of high school, club, my club coach was actually the coach for Riverside Community College, which is the junior college that I ended up going to. I personally wasn't big on school. I graduated, but I told myself I wasn't gonna go to school. But my coach convinced me. He goes, come play for me, and we'll figure it out from there. And so I went and played for him for 2 more years after high school, and then even after my second year of junior college ball, I still said, hey, I don't know if this was for me. I actually took a year off, and then after that year, I had a buddy of mine that was going to Tabor, and he reached out to me and said, hey, you should come. I think this is a place that, is for you. And so I thought about it, and he got me in contact with his coach, and from there, me and the coach kind of talked and worked some things out. But I'm definitely happy I made the decision. Me being from California, where if you're from California, you don't think you need to get out to do anything.
Sure.
It was definitely something that I needed to do, was get out, and go in the middle of nowhere to focus on school. Unfortunately, I was able to finish up my playing career at Tabor as well. But the most important thing for me was just finishing up school and getting my degree. And that was definitely a place that I was able to do that, because we're in the middle of nowhere, don't have much to do. Definitely a culture shock, but you don't have anything, you don't have a choice but to focus on school and soccer.
Nice.
And so it was definitely a great decision for me.
And so the motivation for you in terms of playing collegiate soccer, was it more so on the academic side? It was a vehicle for you to, get finished, or was it again kind of still pursuing your love for the game?
It was really me pursuing my love for the game. The academic side, fortunately fell into that.
Sure.
But realistically for me, it was, hey, I still want to play. I know I can play. And so, it was me trying to find another avenue of, continuing to play and continuing that love and drive that I had for the game. And so that was the sole purpose in going. And once I got there, then that's when the academics kind of fell in place. It was like, okay, now you're here, you might as well do what you need to do to finish. I know that may sound a little bit backwards, but that was just my mindset at the time.
Sure.
That was me as a person. Like I said, school definitely wasn't. I didn't really care for school at the time, so it was like, okay, what can I do to continue to play? And obviously, once you're there, you got to maintain certain GPAs. You got to make sure you're going to class, and so it was, it kind of went hand in hand. And like I said, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I have no reason not to go. I have no reason not to study, not to do homework, and so it all worked out. It worked out well for me.
Right. No, that's good. I certainly understand that. Education was always an afterthought for myself as well, and it's not what we preach to our kids and our players. We almost flip that on them, that they need to make sure they're maintaining the grades. But it's now, because we have done that path, and we've been through it, that we understand the value of the educational side, that very few will be able to gain that kind of true success from playing soccer, whereas you'll be set for life getting your degree and focusing on the education side. So that's certainly interesting, but something I understand. In terms of maybe a player that sticks out, a player or two maybe that you played with during your time. It can be at college, it can be when you were coming through California? Is there anyone that sticks out in your mind as, someone that really made an impression on you?
Yeah, and it's funny that I'm gonna say this, but there's a buddy of mine that I played college with. His name is Marion Saar. He's from Germany. Probably one of the best attacking midfielders I've ever played with. Left-footed, calm on the ball, always 2-3 steps ahead of the game, and just his love and passion for the game. It was unreal. And I played with him at Tabor, one of my first times ever playing with someone from Germany. And, just to see how quick his thought process was when he got on the ball, when he wasn't on the ball, it was something that really impressed me because I had never seen it.
Right.
And so he was one. And then funny but cliche, Coach Peterson.
Okay.
I actually played against Coach Peterson in college. It was my senior year, and he was playing for MacU.
Wow.
We get to the field, and there's this 6'5" guy standing in the middle of the field. I'm like, this is ridiculous, And then you find out he's Brazilian, strong in the air, good on the ball, could hold the ball anywhere on the field. His game was just night and day. And so, like I said, he was another guy that just stood out, obviously because of the size, but his skill and his thought process as well. And, there's actually a picture of me and Peterson together playing against each other.
Wow.
So, like world. I said, right, definitely small world. So, for me, it was those two guys that kind of really stood out, for me.
Yeah, no, that's funny. Obviously, Brandon last week mentioned Nick Burleson, and now you've said Peterson. So I think there's going to be some $5 bills exchanging hands for that. No one said me yet. The reason for that, but no, it's interesting to hear you say about the thought process, the decision making, as well as the technical execution. They go hand in hand for a player to make impact in a game. You see all the time kids that are really, really good technically, but maybe it's just in isolation that they can do the moves. It's all about, can you perceive what's going on the field, and then pick the right decision, pick the right move to really execute in that moment. And that, it's interesting to me that you kind of picked that out as really strengths of these players that you played with. So no, I think that's great. Looking at Oklahoma, how then so you came to SNU via Tabor. How did you end up kind of in the coaching world then? Was Oklahoma your first coaching experience, or had you gone into it before?
So it was yes and no. I had a semester to finish at Tabor, and I was a student assistant there, mainly working with their goalkeepers. Also a JV assistant coach at the time. So I had kind of got my foot in the door there because I knew I wanted to coach. But at the time, my passion just wasn't there to coach. Right. And so it was, hey, I'm finishing up my semester. I needed, internship hours. Hey, let's go, be training the goalkeepers and help out a little bit. Still wanted to play. So that was, me able to keep playing a little bit. And so I did that. And then once I actually got into Oklahoma, that's kind of when I determined that I really wanted to coach. And I got my foot in the door. Once again, me and Brendan are kind of similar here. But Steve Scott was looking for an assistant. He was at UConn High School at the time. And it was volunteer basis, but I was like, hey, I'll get my foot in the door. It'll give me some experience. So I reached out to Steve, and Steve brought me on board, and I was at UConn High School on the girls' side with Steve for 2 years, um, head assistant and keeper coach, and so I did that, enjoyed that, and then Steve actually introduced me and brought me into Canadian Valley at the time, but
Right.
now OEFC West. And so that's how I got my start here in Oklahoma and with the club. You know, it was through Steve. Steve introduced me to Rich, who was the former director at the time, and got brought into the club, and I'm still here, fortunately.
Right. No, that's awesome. It's obviously, and everybody speaks about this kind of tight knit community that is Oklahoma soccer.
Mm-hmm.
If you know one person, you pretty much know them all. So Steve's ears will be burning these last two podcasts, but no, that's great. Was there any certain moment? And again, I know I had this myself where, like you, I didn't know for sure if I wanted to pursue coaching, but then there was a certain time where I thought, yeah, this is for me. This is what I need to be doing. Was there any moment that sticks out for you again, where you were like, this is one of the things I want to pursue?
Uh, for me, I wouldn't necessarily say it was. I will say I wasn't sure if I wanted to coach girls. When I first reached out to Steve, I was kind of skeptical because it was on the girls' side. But once I got started and once I started, being able to interact and coach the girls, I'd say about halfway through that first season with UConn, I was like, okay, this is definitely what I want to do. And then just to take it one step further, I said, yeah, I don't want to coach boys ever again. I'll stick with the girls side. I definitely enjoyed the girls. And then when I started coaching, at the club, I was given the '08 girls when they were in academy.
Right.
And they were a great group. And so that kind of just basically just sealed it for me. Like, yeah, I want to coach, but I only want to coach girls.
There you go. Sorry, boys.
Right. No, but that's definitely, what kind of solidified it for me was, just being able to interact and coach those girls, for those couple months. And I'm like, okay, now this is definitely what I want to do. And I would prefer to stay on the girl side as opposed to being on the boy side. So
Sure. No, well, I'm a girl dad of three, so I'm fine with that. And I've coached both sides, and I certainly see I see there's good things coaching both. It's a different experience, and you got to put on different hats for sure. But in terms of the female side, very responsive, really buy in. So enthusiastic and kind of hungry to learn. Has been my experience on the female side, so I can appreciate that for sure. In terms of coaching, as any mentors, even it can even be a youth coach that you had, or someone that brought you into the club, or someone that on the highs that you spoke of Steve a little bit. Is there anybody that kind of really made an impact on you as a coach, that you were able to kind of maybe steal or borrow some of the stuff that they were doing, or even just the way that they handled themselves, conducted themselves, that you've kind of it's really stuck in your mind as you've gone forward as a coach?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm definitely a student of the game, always looking to learn and learn from different people. I've had tons of coaches that I've either played against or had that have definitely had a huge impact on me. And so it's not for me. It's not really one. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
couple. Definitely my two youth coaches that I had playing club. Coach Francisco and Coach Roger, if you're watching this, appreciate you guys. They definitely had a huge impact on me, just getting me started and kind of understanding the game a little bit more. Um, Also, Gabe Romo, who's head assistant at K-State, Kansas State. He's been huge. Funny thing about that is I've never played for Gabe. Always
Right.
played against him. He's definitely helped, but but my main two mentors that I've really reached out to, Rich Hudson and Scott Carter. They've been huge for me. They've been nothing but good to me. And if there's ever anything that I have a question with or need help with, those guys have always been there for me. Even with me coming into the club and I was still kind of fresh, still not really knowing what to do, how to
Sure.
do it, how to put a session together. You know, Rich and Scott, definitely sat down with me. There were tons of meetings, tons of dinners, lunches, whatever you want to call it. But those guys definitely helped me, and I steal their drills all the time. But no, they're huge for me. Their knowledge of the game, the way they see the game, it's night and day. And so they're huge. And then Coach Gabriel, we bounce ideas off of each other all the time. But just his playing experience and his ideas, his brain, being able to pick his brain. He did play professionally, so though those guys definitely have paved the way for me. I'm still learning, but those guys definitely had a huge impact on me.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, it's coaching is kind of stealing ideas, borrowing ideas, kind of make it your own. That's all it is, and being able to communicate it to your individual players. So it's funny you said that, but no, a lot of really good coaches and characters there, and again, that's what we want to see within the club. Can we collaborate? Can we work together? Can we learn from each other? I don't know everything, and like you said, you are education driven, and I hope I'm the same way, and I think that we continue to get better and provide a better environment for our players and for our teams. In terms of speaking of that a little bit, obviously you're on the O8s and you spoke about coming into the club on the O8s. You've been in California, Kansas. What do you think of soccer and the kind of community and the environment in Mustang, Yukon, El Reno, those surrounding areas that we kind of that is our market basically. What are your thoughts? Obviously coming in from a different part of the US.
I think we definitely have talent in the surrounding areas, but the thing is we just have to find it. And I like I said, it's there, but the biggest thing for me is just getting those kids to stay in the area and playing. I know there are a lot of Mustang Yukon kids that'll go elsewhere to play. And in my opinion, if we can get some of those kids just to stay in the area, and support their own community, then I think it would be huge, for the club. We look at some of the teams that we have. I know for me, with my O8 Green, I have about 5 or 6 kids that are coming in from El Reno, and so it's like we're getting those kids, but we can't keep our own kids to stick around. And so I definitely think it's a hotbed, for talent. It's there, but we just have to make sure we keep it. I will say, got to pick up the work rate a little bit for some of these kids. But if we can get the work rate, out of the kids and keep them in the area, I definitely think we'll be fine. Piedmont, we got a lot of kids from Piedmont, in our club. They're producing, and so I definitely think it's good for the club, and the club is doing good things. But like I said, if we can get some of these local kids to stay around, and I'm big on that because when I played club, I played for my local club. I
Yep.
didn't venture out. I could have,
Sure.
but I decided to stay around, because these are kids that I saw at school. These are kids that I played with in high school. And so I was like, why go elsewhere to play when I can play with my friends?
Oh, absolutely. I think you bring up a good point, and we spoke about it earlier again with you getting your coach saying, "Listen, we need to push you on to the next level." I think we'll be the first people to do that as coaches. The responsibility on us as a club and you as a coach and part of the staff is now, can we build something where people will stay and they will buy in to what we're doing as a club, and that's really been the challenge for us all as we continue to move forward. And I think we're moving in the right direction. I think we're seeing the results from that, but that's certainly something that I put on my shoulders and the staff and the club before saying, you guys are going elsewhere. Why are they not coming to us? Okay, we got to do better. So I'm certainly glad to have you part of the staff that is doing that. And it's funny that you mentioned working hard as well, because it's we're certainly working hard. I think so. Anyway, maybe some of it's not hard enough, but it's the club environment again. Is you come in, it's something that your parents provide, but again, going into college or coming through a certain club system, working hard and buying in and doing the ugly side of it is very much part of it. So I'm kind of glad you touched on that a little bit. Just touching on the west side a little bit. What do you see as the vision a little bit for you, for your teams, and for the club as we kind of progress? We finish up this current little bit of strange season that we're in, and then moving into next season and beyond. What do you feel like your vision and your goals are kind of for yourself and for your teams?
For me, for myself, realistically, is me and you have touched bases on it. Just to continue my coaching education, that's definitely a goal of mine that I want to do. Get some more licenses. I can't preach to my kids to, hey, you need to go out and do this and continue to get better if I'm not trying to better myself as well. And
Love
so,
that.
we definitely, as coaches, have to set that example. Obviously, you having your A, you're practically done. But obviously, I'm sure the education is still there. But
Just getting started.
right, but for some of the guys like myself, it's like I can't expect my kid to do something and not reciprocate that as a coach. So that's a goal of mine, is just to continue to get those license,
Awesome.
better my education there. And then, just goals for my team and the club in general is just to continue to be together. I definitely think that's what's missing here in Oklahoma is just that togetherness, that family feel. And I say that just because I played with my club, the core group of my guys, for 6-7 years.
Right.
And we were able to build that bond. And to this day, I can call on any one of those guys and say, hey, what are you doing? Let's go eat or something, And so just, to continue to have that family feel, continue to develop and grow the club, first and foremost. And I think we're going in the right direction. As far as with my teams, just continuing to develop. I've had, the first team going on 3 years now, and I think they're doing well. The White Green had them for half a year with us missing half of a season. But I definitely think they're moving and going in the right direction as well. And so I just look forward to continue that progress. You can only go up from here, through the tough times and things like that. So.
No, that's awesome, and I'm glad you spoke about collaboration a little bit. it's something we're always going to seek, because again, no one person has the answers. We'll learn every day off of each other, and I think that's really something we're trying as a staff, but I think also as a club, we've got some things coming in terms of technical programs and even the goalkeeping side, which obviously you have a heavy hand in. There'll be kids from different teams and different age groups, but again, we wear the same crest. We represent the same club. Can we have a little bit more collaborations from board, parents, coaching staff, players? But that's certainly something that we're seeking. So I like that you highlighted that. Speaking about the goalkeepers a little bit, obviously you're our director of goalkeeping. For some people might not have known that. We are trying to refresh some things in terms of rolling out the goalkeeper academy, to give that position specific attention to the keepers. So just speak a little bit on that, and then the plans for the upcoming season, in terms of the goalkeeping side of things outside of year 08s.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's kind of been, it hasn't been there so much. And I take ownership of that, definitely being in that position. But going forward, looking forward into the fall season, we're definitely going to look to roll out a better communication system, as far as, reaching out to those parents of those goalkeepers. And honestly, just looking for all of our goalkeepers to come out. I'm not the best goalkeeper coach. I know some may have other coaches that, train them, which is totally fine. I definitely think that, kids going to different trainers helps and enhances their game because they get different perspectives and different knowledges and things like that. But if the service is free for you because you're in the club, why not take advantage of that? And I'm gonna kind of put the coaches out there a little bit, push your goalkeepers to come,
Put them on blast.
push them to come, even if it's, I get we all have practices and different things like that, but even if it's for 30, 40 minutes to where your keeper can come to a keeper session and then they finish up with you for a scrimmage or something of that sort, definitely push your keepers, to come out. We're also looking to put on a keeper striker camp. We don't have a date for that yet, but me and Danny will definitely be in collaboration with that. And so we're just looking to, do more things, get more of the keepers involved. I know every goalkeeper is not going to be like that set goalkeeper. I didn't make the change permanently until the summer before college. But that doesn't, that shouldn't hinder you from coming out, getting, an extra session in regardless, of what you're doing. And realistically, I call it a goalkeeper session, but sometimes you're, not always making saves. You may be working on distribution, maybe working, with your feet and things like that. So, I definitely, encourage you guys all to send your keepers, push your keepers to come out. And I'm definitely looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting back out there with them and working with our keepers.
Brilliant. And Anton's been modest. He's a top keeper coach. And like he said, he's a student of the game. And he's always pursuing. I sent him a lot of stuff on what Lexi's doing with the Energy Pro keepers and with the keepers there at Central, and he's like a sponge. So it's really good for our goalkeepers to get that little bit of position specific training, and it's just about communication. If one of my keepers has a conflict, then I'll say to Antoine, he's going to come the first 30 minutes, and then we're going to roll him into our session. And it's just keeping those doors of communication open, and it's something that me and Antoine have kind of spoke about, and that we're going to certainly address. And we've got lots of different things coming that's really going to help the goalkeepers really feel integrated. Number one, into the teams, and number two, into the position specific training. really because of the curriculum that we're rolling out. So if I'm working on a certain topic playing at the back, then Antoine is aware of that, and can kind of address some of those things within his session as well. So I think we've got a lot of things where we're working more together, and again, Antoine's been modest. It was his idea in terms of this goalkeeper striker camp that we're looking to roll out, and again, we're looking to roll this out as part of our current fees. There's no additional cost, but it's more of a position specific training additional to what you're doing with your teams. So there may be some age groups banded together a little bit, but it's working specifically with the strikers. What are you guys doing on the attacking side of the game? And then on the flip side with the goalkeepers, what are they doing to prevent that? And then we're going to come together at the end of that period of weeks of training, and have a camp like Antoine said, and so that'll be available for all of our players and anybody that's signed up through the club, and it's something we're pretty excited about, and it was a great idea by Antoine. I just jumped on it and stole it a little bit, but Antoine was the brains behind it. In terms, so we spoke a lot about soccer, a lot about what you've been doing. Home life and life away from soccer. Speak a little bit about that.
Home life is great. I've been really busy the last couple of weeks. Me and my girlfriend recently moved into a home. We also are expecting. Tell me about it. There definitely was a reason for the move. We needed bigger space. We are expecting our kiddos pretty soon, actually. We have twins on the way, boy and a girl, baby Ace and baby Ayla.
Love it.
So they're expected to be here June 1st. So we're definitely excited. It's good times for us, nervous times for us, exciting times. But we definitely look forward to it. Looking forward to getting them here and being with them, and hopefully having them on the pitch in a couple of years.
That's right, and you can only coach the girl, right? Because you committed to that earlier. I'll take the boy. Don't worry.
There you go.
Yeah, no, but that's awesome. Congratulations to you and your girlfriend. We're obviously very excited about that, and we've got a couple of OEFC West babies on the way. Almost to the day,
yeah.
Yourself and Gabby expecting, and obviously they didn't tell me because I planned tryouts around the same time. So we'll figure that out. We'll make sure that your teams are taken care of for sure. But we're very excited to welcome your twins into the West family for sure.
Definitely. And I'll be honest, I'm planning on being at tryouts, but Danny, you got 3 of them, so you know how that goes.
Yeah, just drop 2 more off at this point. Yeah, just drop them off at the house. We'll be fine.
They're expected to be here June 1st. You know, if all goes well, hopefully by, that Thursday or Friday, I'm able to get away a little bit and come out to the fields. But like Danny said, if I'm not able to, we'll definitely have that covered, and so but I am planning on being there.
Yeah, we've got contingency plans in place, so we'll certainly make sure you looked after. The most important thing is your family and looking after those babies, but that's certainly big time exciting. So if you see Antoine in the fields in the fall, you give him a hug because he's not sleeping, and he's got 2 of them. I cannot picture 2 of them. Best of luck to you. Yeah, I'm glad you're a goalkeeper because maybe you got practice holding them both. What else then outside of soccer? What are your interests? I know you've obviously got another career outside of soccer, but speak a little bit to your work and then also maybe some things that you do for fun.
So I do have a full-time job. I'm a patient account specialist for Integris hospitals, and so I have been at work. I'm considered essential, so I've been working, and it's been crazy. But what we basically do is we deal with a lot of our patient accounts, whether that's billing, taking payments, whatever anything else that pertains to patients in hospitals and things like that. So I deal with a lot of that, and also deal with a lot of money every day because I take bank deposits and run checks and things like that. So that's my full-time gig. I also have another part-time gig, which is the fun gig, depending on the day.
Sure.
I am a team attendant for Oklahoma City Thunder. In a nutshell, I get to hang out with the players. Coach Danny has seen me in action.
Yeah.
He was VIP that night. He had backstage.
I thought I was cool, just strolling down there. Oh, there's Antoine. I guess it's just everybody gets to be back here.
Coach Danny had VIP passes, but that's one of my other part-time gigs. It's really fun. Great atmosphere, and the players are awesome. I know on TV and in real life, some of them may seem like douchebags or whatnot, but those guys, they're really personable, down to earth, great guys to talk to. And one thing that I kind of tell a lot of people is you have to keep one thing in mind is that they're there to do a job. And so when you're yelling at them and hollering at them, if they come off the wrong way, it's not because they're upset with you, but it's because they're there to do a job. Right. If someone was badgering you while you were working, you would probably feel the same way. So I do that as well, but it keeps me busy. If I'm not doing anything, if I'm not coaching, if I'm not working, if I'm not being a team attendant, I hang out with my girlfriend a lot. I don't have family here in Oklahoma other than my soccer family. And I've met people here and there, but it's me hanging out with my girlfriend, watching movies, and going out. We definitely like to go out. That may be changing a little bit here, but we definitely like to hang out with friends and stay entertained that way, and get tattoos.
Yeah, some tats. We're going to do a podcast series about tattoos. I don't have any, so I won't be on it, but we can get the story behind the tattoos.
Yeah, you definitely can. So I'll tell you one story just about these two particular ones that I have that definitely mean a lot to me. But on the back of my calves, I have the saying "Jogo Bonito," and then it says, one of them says heart, the other one says passion. But if you guys aren't familiar with Jogo Bonito, it basically means play pretty in Portugal. I want to say it might have been either the 95 or 96 World Cup, maybe. But Nike did this huge promotion with Brazil.
Yeah, and I think 2002, I think. If I
remember somewhere.
Correctly.
Yeah, I don't really remember. But they did this huge promotion with Brazil, and Brazil were on all their commercials that particular year.
And the airport. Is that one? Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's earlier, 98, maybe.
It was. I know it was airport. One was in their locker room where they're just juggling, and the point of it was, play pretty, which is what Brazilians typically do. And for me, that was kind of how I played the game. No, I'm not Brazilian, but I definitely play with a calm style. I like to play, calm and things like that. And so I decided to get that tattooed on the back of my calves. And so those are huge for me, just because you got to play with heart and passion. If you're not doing that, you shouldn't be playing in general.
Right. No, that shows the impact the game's had on you to move to, ink it on your body. So I think that's pretty cool. But listen, it's been a pleasure. It's been great for me getting to know your background a little bit. Hopefully some of your parents and players also feel the same way. We're obviously excited to have you as a big part of the club and really more so excited about welcoming your twins into the world, and we wish you all the best for that, and can't wait to meet those two kiddos, and certainly wish you and your girlfriend all the best as you go into the next. It's coming up into the next month or so. So listen, thanks very much. Appreciate your honesty and your insight, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Danny. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure.
Top man, Antoine. Okay, so again, we appreciate episode 2. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you got something out of it. Really looking forward to getting back out there with Coach Antoine and his 08 girls and all the goalkeepers. Make sure you're signing up for tryouts. Make sure you register. Again, it just gives us the best idea possible for the amount of players that are coming out, so we can plan safely and accordingly. Thank you guys for listening in. Look out for the next one. Good night, and thanks again. Appreciate it.